Welcome back to it, guys, the Now Morning Show, your Wednesday edition, where we are continuing the conversation on NGOs and the importance that they play, but from a different side. The taste of Carnival will see all sorts of events, and some of them are charitable. So to tell us more about exactly that, I am joined by Sister Angelique Taylor, the National President, and Mr. Sebastian Singh, the Chairman of Revenue Generating, or the Revenue Generating Committee, rather, for the St. Vincent de Paul organization. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
I was just about to say, for now, they're making sure they get the audio problem sorted, but fine. I like that you're working together. As you explained to me, you refer to each other as sister and brother because it is very much community-based and very much a family.
Yes, correct. It's actually a fraternity. It's a Catholic lay organization that started in Paris in 1833 by a young man. He was a student. He was actually a lecturer. And he was a student, a doctor of literature.
Right.
And so he felt the need to bring what he learned in church into action. A lot of people just go to church, they sit down, and they do their weekly obligation and just go back home and do nothing. So he was inspired to go out and find people, go out and transform persons by their lives, transform persons with just maybe a hug, a smile, bringing food stuff as well, because that's like an entry point. But more importantly, it was the journey. It wasn't really about eradicating poverty as such, but it was more about the journey. So I'm there with you during your joys, your sorrow.
Right.
You can call me 24/7. Sometimes some people do, especially now in the pandemic where a lot of people are undergoing a lot of stress. And the last speaker talked about, in Cropper Foundation, talked about that mental health. And we see a lot of that, persons that are on the brink of suicide. And so we get a lot of those calls. Of course, we want to work with other NGOs who provide that specialist type of competency. And so that we're not social workers, Father Sergio always talks about we're not really social workers, but we're just there as friends. And so that's what the organization is mainly about. We visit persons in their house. Of course, during the pandemic, it was very, very difficult
I can imagine.
to do that. But, surprisingly, when you look back at the history of the organization in Trinidad and Tobago, when we started, we were officially aggregated because that's the affiliation with Paris, the Paris parent company. So when we were officially aggregated, we came in at a time of a pandemic. There was cholera in Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of people were falling ill. And so the Archbishop at the time just got together a group of young men in the church. They were bright, they were intelligent, they weren't doing much. And so he just encouraged them to go out to assist people. And we just grew and grew and grew. So now we have, we attend to persons who are homeless, persons living with HIV and AIDS, persons that are elderly and have been abandoned in the hospital. We also house and accommodate mentally challenged persons. And so we have 10 homes and institutions across Trinidad and Tobago.
The last check I got was over 10. And if you're looking at an institution that exists for over 160 years, that's understandable.
Yeah, correct.
You talk about being friends, but you all are far more than that, and definitely will need support, therefore.
Yeah,
so this poor man's brunch is not, and I say brunch because the menu, I like it,
Okay.
It is one of the more familiar things to me when we talk about St. Vincent de Paul, and it makes complete sense, Sebastian, that you have to have an entire committee around creating funds to make sure that you all can support these ventures, these multitude of homes and other NGO efforts, so that the planning had to have been different navigating the pandemic, wasn't it?
Yes, so true. Just want to say a pleasant good morning to Trinidad and Tobago, and thank you for TTT for allowing us to hosting us to view some of our concerns at the St. Vincent de Paul Society.
Of course.
Well, apart from revenue generating, I'm also the president of a conference in Carpet-Chima. How it is that we have St. Vincent de Paul, there are institutions and homes, which are about 11 of them. Plus, with each area, we have something we call conferences, and they more or less resides in where Catholic churches are.
Okay.
So in total, we have about 72 conferences. Now, apart from the work that the head office does with the homes and institutions, each conference take care of the the poorest of the poor in their communities.
Areas, right.
For instance, in Carpetcham, which I can speak about, we see about 35 families on a monthly basis. And sister, every day people are coming on board. They want to come on board, but we have to do a process of interviews and whatnot. And it's sad. Sorry.
When you talk about come on board, you mean persons coming to volunteer their time and resources, or receiving help?
To receive help.
I just wanted to clarify.
And we just don't give out food stuff.
Right.
We get intimately involved with the social life of the families. We visit the homes. We, like in my conference, there were a number of students who didn't have devices to attend the classes.
Online classes.
We can provide for each and every one, but we did over 12 so far, and there are still others who are in need.
Right. And that's why this event is going to be happening, to make sure we can do that.
Amen.
So let's get these specifics, because this one has to be pandemic safe. How are we doing things a little differently this year?
The poor man's lunch it mimics the poor man's dinner that used to be held, I think, up in the Hilton Hotel.
Right.
And so what is a drive-through? So we, thanks for Hyatt, we are using the Hyatt car park. So on the rooftop of the car park, there are 7 levels. So as patrons who purchase tickets, collecting their soups, they will be entertained on the way up. Might have a little pan, a little music.
Oh, nice. So you're physically distanced. You're definitely physically distanced, but you're still getting to enjoy the ambience.
Nobody will be coming out of their vehicles.
Okay.
But we are still so safety-wise, we have that.
All protocols observed.
We do, yeah, and we have some numbers. I think we just show up on the hotline that for anybody interested in tickets, please call, because we have quite a few yet to be sold, and we need the money. There was a guy who's come on TV. See, his catch was
we need money. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. When we think of St. Vincent de Paul, we do think about making sure that we donate, not just monetary, but we also think of donating our time. As you say, the communities that you exist in, you help them in multiple ways.
Yes.
And so as much as this event is carded to make sure that you have the funds to continue to do that, if you wanted to give of your time, how can we do that as well?
Right, so we have a head office, a secretariat. It's on 20 Duncan Street. You can always call 625-3562 or 623-8166. Just talk to Shadi, and you leave your number and leave the area in which you want to provide give back of your time.
Beautiful, so that they coordinate depending on what you want to do, times and schedules.
Of course, if you're living from a community standpoint, you can always get in contact with any of the conferences through the Catholic Church. Just ask for a member of the society that is resident in that parish, and you just join.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to be heading over to the Hyatt, the rooftop, for a lovely experience.
Yeah, you'll be entertained with some nice music. So, it's carnival. We hoping to have a little steel band,
Nice.
And and some calypso music up on the. We can't come out the vehicle and shake a leg.
You have to tap your foot inside on the passenger side.
Quite true, yeah.
But in terms of making the purchase of the tickets, then is that being done over the phone strictly? At churches, are there multiple options that we have?
Well, what we have to have a certain amount of. We can't accept on the day purchases.
Okay.
So at least the number on the screen right now on the flyer, and if people can call that number, or you could give my number after the show, or contact the societies on Duncan Street,
right?
The head office, and we are listed, and the number just for anyone listening is 625-3562. That is the secretariat office.
Poor Shadi is going to get all the calls this morning.
We do hope she gets quite a bit of calls,
And of course, for those of you who are looking on, you will also notice we've attached the Republic Bank account to which you can donate, so that whether or not you purchase a full-on ticket for your poor man's lunch, you can continue to support St. Vincent de Paul and the many endeavors that they embark on to continue to help their communities. This morning, I want to say thank you very much to Sebastian and to Angelique for not just taking the time to talk with us, but to continue to do the beautiful work that you do. If anything, you wanted to leave a little bit of a parting message, if you will, with Trinidad and Tobago, because as you said, in these times, everybody's going through it. It's a tough time, but you continue to band together. What would you say to them?
I would say to Trinidad and Tobago that poverty eradication is not only one organization's business. It is everyone's business. Just your very neighbor who is a shut-in, who lives alone, you can reach out to that person. You know, these days where the pandemic causes us to be almost antisocial, we don't want that. We want you to reach out within your community, and that's my message.
And for that, I thank you. The Now Morning Show will return with more right after these messages.
It's been a long time.